Hundreds of reenactors, thousands of spectators, and more than a dozen boats will take over historic Fort Morgan this weekend for the 150th commemoration of the Battle of Mobile Bay. Many historians say the battle signaled the beginning of the end for America's bloody Civil War. Local 15 today's Darwin, really? You are already dressed up. I was so excited. I waited all morning and now you are here in your attire. I love it.
Yeah. You like this?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's a cool day today, Kelly, there at Fort Morgan. But if it were a hot day, I can tell you this would be hot. I don't know how they did it, or I don't know who came up with the idea of slipping into something more uncomfortable, but they did during the Civil War. They wore a lot of wool. John Gerner is with us. He's curator, historian, I guess you sweep floors, whatever they need you to do.
Yes,
right?
sir, most cases.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've seen you down here in a uniform like this, perhaps even this one. Is this yours?
No, sir.
Okay, well,
I have one similar.
Thank whoever this is for letting me wear it this morning. Who would be wearing this during, let's say, the battle down here in 1864?
Okay, this is a Confederate uniform, and you can look by the cuff and the trim here that's actually artillery. So the red is for artillery, and so this would be the type of men inside the fort trying to keep the other guys out here in blue, Union blue, away from the fort, and hopefully keep everyone out of securing the fort. So this is typical uniform you'll see on the Confederate side. Sky blue trousers are actually Union-style trousers that will be found in a lot of the depots of the region. Confederate gray, like most people think about, particularly with this sort of color here, is typical, but every unit may have something a little bit different depending on how they were raised the first part of the war. So my uniform is actually a darker shade of gray, almost looks black, and that's because that was for the 1st Alabama Artillery, which as far as we know, they had a much deeper shade of gray than the first part of the war because they were raised as Alabama regular troops.
All right, wow, he knows his stuff. Unfortunately, we're going to have to run here, but we're going to be back in a little while. There's a lot of guys in that fort wearing these right now. We're going to. Okay, wearing different uniforms. We're going to go check on those in just a few minutes. I still want to find out what that was. We may have to do that later because we're out of time now, but this is what you're going to see. It's going to be real as we can make it 150 years after the Battle of Mobile Bay and the siege of Fort Morgan. Much more to come this morning.
Thank you, Darrell. We appreciate that. You know, it makes people get even more into history when you see the reenactment literally come to life.
That's right. It makes it real.